Boy, Jesus gave a long homily today, didn't he? A lot of parables. A lot of parables. And I think over my 33 years as a priest, how many times have I listened to this and preached on it? How many times have you heard this parable, do you think? As I look around, probably you've heard it 1,000,000 times by now. And by now, you'd think that we were perfect, right? We heard the parables, and we did what the parables say. We were salt and light for the earth. Well, it didn't turn out that way as of now, did it? We're still in the process of trying to understand what Jesus was saying on that mountaintop that day. What are the implications for us today? And I pull back from my golden oldies homily that I've been saying probably for 33 years. I even probably said it when I was back here in 2005 and 2011. So if you remember it, I'd like to talk to you after Mass and see if you do remember it and you're living as salt and light for your world today. So here goes my golden oldie. A teacher opened his Bible and he turned to the Sermon on the Mount and read these words of Jesus to his class. You are salt of the earth. You are light of the world. The teacher closed the Bible, sat on the edge of his desk, and said to the students, wouldn't it be great if we could weed out the church today? Wouldn't it be great if we could remove from it all half-hearted Christians? Think of the impact the church would have on the world if it only had committed people in it. 1,000,000 committed Christians would be a far better witness to Jesus than 25 half-hearted Christians today. Suddenly the students began to see his point. They began to nod in agreement, but a girl in the back of the room raised her hand and said, I agree with what you say, but who would decide who's to be weeded out and who's to stay? A flurry of hands went up, and one boy said, I think almost anybody could decide that. I could give you a list of names right now. So this raises a question today, doesn't it? Would it be good to weed out the church from time to time? Would it help everyone, even half-hearted Christians? Would it shake people up and make them more committed? Would it help the church become what Jesus called it to be, salt of the earth and light for the world? Today's parable of the weeds and the wheat may shed some light on these questions. Let's take a look at it today. The weed referred to by Jesus was a curse to Palestinian farmers. Ancient writers described it as a kind of fool's wheat. In the early stages of its growth, it looked very similar to real wheat. This was one of the reasons that the owner told his workers to wait until harvest time. They might pull up some real wheat, thinking it was fool's wheat. And it's right here that the parable sheds light on the question about weeding out half-hearted Christians from the church. Just as the workers might mistake real wheat for fool's wheat, so we might mistake committed Christians for half-hearted Christians. Even more tragically, we might condemn someone who seemed to be a half-hearted Christian, but had the potential to become a committed Christian. The point is this: judgment is not ours to pass. Judgment should be passed only at the end of a person's life by God, not in the middle of it by people. That's such an important point, I think, today. Let me repeat it. Judgment should be passed only at the end of a person's life by God, not in the middle of it by people. Paul stresses this point in his first letter to the Corinthians when he writes, "Do not make any judgment before the appointed time until the Lord comes, for he will bring to light what is hidden in the darkness and will manifest the motives of our hearts." That might cause some of us to shake in our shoes today. It's all going to come out one day, what's in here and who we are. Let me illustrate the risk of passing judgment on someone before the right time. Years ago, a magazine carried a moving story, and it concerned a retired lay missionary and his wife. They spent their final days on a tiny farm outside of town. The couple worked hard growing vegetables and chickens. They couldn't eat all they grew, so they sold their surplus to the townspeople. After a while, the townspeople began to gossip about how miserly the retired missionary and his wife were. They weigh every vegetable and they count every egg twice, said one townsman. They wouldn't give you an extra potato or an extra egg to save themselves. I wonder what kind of missionaries they were. Eventually, the missionary's wife died. Only then did the real truth come out. Every cent the couple earned from selling their vegetables and eggs went to two elderly widows who depended on them for their sole support. This brings us back to the point Paul makes to his letter to the citizens of Corinth. It is the same point Jesus makes in his parable today. Do not make any judgment before the appointed time until the Lord comes, for he will bring light what is hidden in the darkness. And so we have to be content to live in a world and a church where saints and sinners live side by side. A church full of saints might be a nice church. And I don't think we have all saints here today. If you are, raise your hand. I don't see any halos shining through there. But it wouldn't be Christ Church. As Henry Beecher Stowe put it, the church is not a gallery for the exhibition of eminent Christians, but a school for the education of imperfect ones. Or as Charles Clayton Morrison put it, the Christian church is a society of sinners. It is the only society in the world in which membership is based on a single qualification, that the candidate be unworthy of membership. I'd like to close with a prayer today. Lord, help us realize that the church is not a showcase for saints, but a shelter for sinners. Prevent us from passing judgment on anyone, especially members of our own family and members of our own church. Help us to take heart Jesus' words when he says, "Stop judging and you will not be judged. Stop condemning and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you will be forgiven. Give and gifts will be given to you. The measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you." Amen.